Welcome. Thank you all for joining us today. Today's session is on Royal Roads University Bachelor of Commerce and Entrepreneurial Management program. With me today, I have Prof. Ross Porter, who's the BCom program head, and my name is Emara Angus. I'm an education specialist. Behind the scenes, we have Tracy from our enrollment team, as well as Nancy from our education team here to support today's session. So any questions whatsoever, pop them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them throughout today's session. Before we continue, it is so important that we do an acknowledgement of traditional lands. Royal Roads University acknowledges that the campus is located on the traditional lands of the Cossacks, the Esquimalt, and Lekwungen, Songhees, ancestors, and families. It is with gratitude that we now learn and work here where the past, present, and future of Indigenous and non-Indigenous students, faculty, and staff come together. Welcome. Today's agenda, get to know one another. We have a quick poll, but we're going to save that for later, an overview of the Royal Roads University experience. We're also going to dive into the Royal Roads BCom program, go through the admissions and application, and as I mentioned earlier, questions throughout. So any questions, feel welcome to pop them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them throughout today's session. So where are we located? We are located in Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. We are on Vancouver Island. So the closest nearest cities are on the mainland, so a ferry ride away. You can get to Vancouver, British Columbia, or you can go all the way to the States to Seattle. And those are the closest large cities. The top three industries in Victoria are advanced technology, tourism and hospitality, and education. And we're one of the mildest climates in Canada year-round. In the summer, it's a nice balmy 25 degrees Celsius. In the winter, it sits around 6 degrees Celsius. So you can go for hikes and bike rides and explore the island almost any time of the year. So here are some images from our campus. The top left is Hatley Castle. You might recognize this castle from movies such as Deadpool or X-Men. So it's a beautiful castle on campus, and it actually overlooks the Esquimalt Lagoon, which you'll see pictured on the top right. And this is a beautiful migratory bird sanctuary, just a stunning, stunning place. And if you look far into the distance of that image, you'll actually see the Olympic Peninsula, which is a mountain range in the States. The bottom left is Charlie's Trail, one of my personal favorite places for a lunchtime walk. It's right located on campus, and there's many hiking trails around campus. And on the bottom right is an image to depict that we have been teaching and learning online for over 25 years. So you might be wondering, why explore Royal Roads University? So here at Royal Roads, we see life as a qualification. We understand that every single person in the room today or watching the recording later is coming to us with a different background, a different career background, different career goals. And that is what makes everyone unique. It's what makes our cohort unique. And we're really big on getting to know your name quickly. You're more than a student number here at Royal Roads. So profs, they get to know your name fast. And really learning based on life. So there's not that division between theory and practice, it's integrated. So things that you learn in the classroom, you can apply the very next day. And you're going to be making connections for life with the professors who teach you, with your peers in your cohort. You'll be making connections, and that will become part of your professional network, as well as some friendships as well. And we were just built differently from day one, and we're going to talk more about that throughout today's session. Another thing is we're also a changemaker campus, an Ashoka U changemaker campus. So what does that mean? The Ashoka U designation recognizes colleges and universities that have embedded social innovation as a core value. So here at Royal Roads University, we really believe in leading and empowering others to lead positive change in the world. And now I'm so pleased to welcome up Prof. Ross Porter, who's going to introduce himself and talk about the program overview.
Thanks, Emara. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for your interest in the Bachelor of Commerce program in Entrepreneurial Management. So I'm going to talk first about what makes this program different. We've kind of alluded to that Royal Roads is a different kind of place, that we're focused on making and advancing change, making a difference in the world. And I want to speak to how the program supports that. So we're different by design. And what does that mean? Well, it means that on a few dimensions. One is that we are a degree completion program. So we offer years, the equivalent of year 3 and 4, so the degrees. We offer the program in a blended delivery mode. So what does that mean? It means that you are taking a combination of online courses and then coming to the university for a series of on-campus residencies at various points throughout the program. And I'll be speaking to that in a little bit more detail in a short period of time. The learner, the demographic of our learners is quite a bit different than what you would typically see in so we have a broad range of ages. The average age in the BCom is about 35, and it ranges from anywhere people in their mid-20s to people in their mid-40s or beyond. So there are different stages of their careers. They bring a diverse and rich set of backgrounds and work and life and academic experiences, which creates an amazingly rich learning environment. So there's as much learning from one another as there is from your faculty community that you'll be interacting with as well. So what draws people to the program? Well, the common goals that I see showing up for why people decide to pursue the BCom in Entrepreneurial Management, it's to increase the pool of opportunities available to them. So career advancement, change, improvement. Maybe they want to start something outside of their current place of employment. Maybe they want to do something different within their current place of employment. So it's either advancing what they're on about or maybe making a change and trying something different. They're also seeking to enhance their influence and impact in the workplace and in the world more broadly. And the other common student experience that once you enter the program is that everybody is learning while they're working. So 95% of our learners are working full-time or in some cases part-time while they are engaged in the program. And the program is structured to support those who are working to not put their careers and life on hold to pursue further education. So let's talk about the nature of the learning and why the things that you'll be exposed to in the BCom matter. So you're not just going to be accumulating more knowledge for the sake of content accumulation. You're also being developed such that you're capable of doing more. So we're really focused on not simply exposing people to lots of information, but opportunity to sit with that content and seek to apply it and be given the opportunities to actually wrestle with it and experience it real time and in real life circumstances. And that goes to this notion of applied and experiential learning. So that's making sure that what you get exposed to and the learning experiences that you undertake are real and relevant. You're learning by doing, not simply learning by studying. You are working with live clients, you are building ventures, actual businesses, and you're engaged in all sorts of other hands-on learning experiences, both when you're here for your residencies, as well as your online coursework. You have the opportunity to not only pursue the things that matter most to you as an individual, but you also get to experience working in teams and engaging in collaboration with the peers that you are with in your particular BCom cohort. So we have a cohort model where you start the program together and you complete it together. And so you're always engaged in a combination of learning that is individualized as well as learning that is contextualized within the learning community of the cohort or in formal teamwork. The goal is to equip all of you with an enhanced level of confidence and competence. The confidence is born out of increased competence, having more knowledge and importantly, know-how, so that you're not staying still, you're moving forward. The goal is to advance people in whatever pathway matters most to them. And if what you end the program with is that enhanced competence and as a result between staying still and moving forward, in my mind, that's success. And the other difference that we bring is a focus on what we refer to as entrepreneurial management. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what is that and why does that matter. So think about it as a way of thinking and being and doing in the world that's a bit different. it is what we refer to as a mindset and approach to creating value. So this idea of wanting to make things better or different, to advance things, to improve things, to challenge the status quo, to move from A to B, these are inherently entrepreneurial qualities. And I don't know a work environment that doesn't need and want and would benefit from entrepreneurially minded people. So this is not simply about venture creation. This is not about becoming the next Steve Jobs or Jeff Bezos. This is about figuring out how you can best express yourself in ways that add value to whatever work context you find yourself in. So it's developing the capacity and capability to be more resourceful, to be more enterprising, to figure out what to do with the limited maybe time and resources that are available. How do you leverage the means in front of you and to create something that is worthwhile? It's only see problems and challenges, and they can't figure out how to work through it, how to navigate the change and uncertainty before themselves. You're going to be equipped to figure out how best to do that, to feel more comfortable navigating uncertainty and ambiguity, and to be able to identify opportunities, as I said, where others might not see it. And as a result, you're able to create value that is not present. Ultimately, it's about turning ideas into action. It's about getting things done. It's about being somebody who's interested in either creating, building, or improving. If these are the kinds of attributes and qualities that either you see in yourself or you would like to cultivate and you see benefit by doing so, then this might be the right program for you. So let's talk a little bit about how do we deliver this educational experience. So the program is designed for learners to navigate through it in 2 years. It can take longer, but the program, as I'll show you in the next couple slides how it's laid out, is designed to move learners through in a 2-year on a 2-year basis. It's part-time because you're working and living as well as engaging in the program, but it is full on. It's a major commitment to undertake a degree completion program such as this while you are working. But again, we've got a couple of thousand learners who have gone before you, and there is certainly a way of making the most of it such that whatever your motivation or intent to come into the program in terms of what that ultimate goal is that you're seeking to achieve, you can leverage the program to realize those aims and ambitions for yourself. Your experience is that you'll be taking 1 or 2 courses at a time, and I'll show how that's laid out momentarily. This is not a correspondence program, so depending on whether you've done online or distance learning, we pride ourselves at Royal Roads to be offering a different type of student experience for those who are engaging in learning at Royal Roads. So this is not correspondence. This is facilitated learning. There are people such as myself and other faculty members that are facilitating weekly activities with each cohort and in each course in the program. So there's a combination of experiencing some things live, certainly when you're on campus, but even when you are studying things at a distance, as well as, for the most part, doing things on your own time. So you have that degree of flexibility. You can exercise your agency and choice to be able to kind of figure out how best to incorporate the learning experience as part of your work life. You'll be coming to campus 3 times for 3 what I would regard as immersive, experiential, hands-on learning-based residencies. So we start with an 8-day residency at the beginning of the program, first in about week 4 of the program, and then you'll be coming back about the midway point for another residency, and then you'll be have another residency at the program conclusion. The great opportunity that's available to anybody that chooses a blended delivery model, such as what the BCom offers, is in any given week, in any given term, in any given phase of the program, you have the opportunity, and I would say a responsibility to yourself, to be applying what you're learning to whatever work context you find yourself in at the moment. And actually there's spillover effects in terms of things that you can be leveraging from the program for things outside of work, in terms of life and relationships. So what that does is it provides a really powerful feedback loop. You have the opportunity to try out the learning in a work context and see what that reveals, and it feeds right back into the coursework and back again into life and work. So this dynamic upward spiral of learning that occurs when you are actually studying and engaging in learning and developing capacity and capability while you're working, as opposed to removing yourself out of the workplace for an extended period of time and then having to figure out how to adapt and incorporate and transfer the learning that you've acquired back into the workplace. You will not be your experience while you're undertaking the BCom. So let's talk a little bit about what the 2 years looks like. So year one, as I said, you'll be coming to campus shortly after you start the program. So the first few weeks of the program, you will be undertaking online. There'll be an orientation week, and then you'll be jumping into your first course. And you'll be undertaking some online studies for the first 3 weeks of that course, and then you'll be coming to your on-campus residency after you'll conclude your first course in the program, where you're developing teamwork, problem solving, collaboration, critical thinking, and communication skills that are going to be formative for the rest of your time in the program. And again, learning that you'll be able to immediately apply to whatever work you're engaged in outside of the program. And then once the terms start, they're 9 weeks long. Delivery with your peers in your cohort and with your faculty. And then the last week will be for any wrap up in terms of final deliverables for the course, and then a 1 week break, and then into your next set of courses. And this kind of compressed accelerated model is what allows you to be able to complete what might otherwise take significantly longer at another university, to be able to complete years 3 and 4 part-time in the same amount of time that a full-time student at a traditional university would take, because they have elongated summer breaks and longer terms. So we have this 9-week model, a break, and then you start again into your next set of courses. So that's what the first year looks like. And you're taking a range of courses that embed critical and creative thinking and problem solving and communication skills and collaboration and entrepreneurial thinking throughout all of this coursework that you'll be undertaking. Some of it will be very hands-on and applied and experiential. And then at the conclusion of your 398 course, which is your core entrepreneurship course in the program, that's going to conclude at the beginning of year 2 in your second residency, when you'll be coming to campus for an 8-day Res 2. So that's where you'll see there on your left-hand side. You'll conclude your entrepreneurship course. As I said, we actually have a group of learners on campus this week. So this past Saturday and Sunday, they were concluding their ENM 398 entrepreneurship course. And now they're in the throes of this immersive, what we refer to as a design thinking based applied business challenge. So they're actually working with a live client, and they're engaged in active problem solving on behalf of this client to untap or to realize some value on behalf of this organization. And they'll be concluding that experience this coming Saturday. Again, they'll have a week off, and then they'll be moving right into their next set of courses, which start with finance and our human side of business course. They'll be doing DL, what we call distance learning term 6, 7, and 8. And then just before you start your capstone experience, which is you coming up with, and you will have been undoubtedly working on and thinking this stuff through before you get to your capstone, you have the opportunity to identify a venture idea for your place of employment, or maybe you want to do something independent of that, your own thing, to come up with a business idea and then fully unpack and build out a comprehensive business plan to bring that idea to reality, again, either in your place of employment or starting your own venture, or maybe you own a venture and you want to take it to a new direction. The capstone is your opportunity to explore that. Ideally, you come in with some notion of something you would want to do and build out and improve, and you use the program to kind of incubate and advance your thinking and about that, and the doing starts much sooner than capstone. But you're going to take your third applied business challenge just before your capstone project. It's going to be a bit of a boot camp moving into your capstone, and then the last few weeks of the program is fulsomely around your capstone business project, and you are going to present your idea to a panel of industry and business professionals, and you're going to get some feedback. and you're going to then write up your final deliverable, and that will conclude your program. But the idea is that your life and your work is not in static mode through these 2 years. You are learning and you're applying in evaluation, all the rewards start to happen. Ideally, you're realizing rewards and a return on your investment of your time and energy and learning as you're moving throughout the program. So, some questions to be thinking about as you determine whether or not this is for you. What I'm really interested in knowing from prospects is, what is it about the BCom in entrepreneurial management that attracts you, that interests you, that intrigues you, either what I've shared with you today or what you've learned about it online, or maybe talking to somebody who is in the program and or has completed the program. Why this program and why now? What are you hoping to do, to become, or to accomplish that you think undertaking this program will help advance or accelerate the results, or build or improve, either in the context of your existing work or your future desired work? Again, how is the program going to serve as an accelerator or enabler of the things that matter most to you? And are you interested in cultivating and building the capacity and capability to think and behave more entrepreneurially because you see value in doing so? I think it's the difference between being somebody who can truly create value and make a difference, challenged by navigating the increasing levels of uncertainty and ambiguity that we're all navigating in a post-COVID world. So I truly believe that the educational experience that you will be exposed to can be incredibly enabling and advancing and accelerating at whatever goals and ambitions you have. But it's about you being clear about what those are. And if you're not, coming in with that spirit of curiosity, of discovery, to figure out what that is and take advantage of all the learning opportunities that would be exposed to you to define a pathway forward for yourself. So to the extent that you come in with a zest of curiosity and commitment to learning and growth, and actually be more impactful in the world, be more influential, to be able to make more of a difference, then this program might be a great fit for you. So these are things you should be thinking about. So let's talk a little bit about, hey, if that does sound attractive, where do you go from here?
Awesome. Thank you, Ross. Okay, so now that you're realizing that this is the program for you and you're wanting to apply, we're going to discuss how to apply. So here at Royal Roads University, as we mentioned earlier, we understand that every single person in the room is joining us with a different background, different work experience. So we have 2 admissions. We have standard and flexible admission, because we understand that people's experience does vary. So for the traditional pathway, the standard admission, we do require a minimum of 60 credits. That includes a minimum of 24 second-year credits and a minimum GPA of a B from a recognized post-secondary institution, and at least 2 years of full-time work experience. So if this doesn't quite fit for you, we also have our flexible admission, which we also like to call our professional pathway. So this is looking at a combination of work, professional, and academic experience. So if you have fewer than 15 post-secondary credits, you normally require at least 7 years of full-time work experience, with 3 years at a supervisory, project lead, or management level. And if you're kind of listening to this or looking on the website and you're like, I don't know which one I fit into, please connect with us, reach out, don't self-select out, reach out to us. Tracy here is very, very knowledgeable at looking at your experience, so you can set up an appointment with Tracy or connect by email. So just make sure you check if you are interested in the program and you're not sure if it's the right fit.
Yeah, and on average, about 2/3 of our cohorts come in through the flexible admission model. So it's very common. So if you're not sure, as Emara said, whether or not this is the right fit for you and from an application standpoint, just reach out and talk to somebody.
So we compiled some examples of standard admission because it's always nice to be able to kind of hear samples of different people who have come through the program. So one example is accepted into the program with a 2-year diploma from a local college and 2 years of full-time work experience working sales in a small business. So taking a variety of different courses at university, but never completed their degree. So equaling 60-ish credits, and spent the last 4 years working in banking. So these are just examples of just people who are the perfect candidate for our program. And so example of like flexible admission. So for example, someone came into the program with experience working in a restaurant for 8 years. They started as a server and then worked their way up to manager and has been managing staff in restaurant operations for the last 3 years. Or accepted into the program with 15 years of experience working in tech startups with no formalized post-secondary education. Or we also have a current student who is an Olympic prospect and has been a full-time athlete for the last 7 years. Do you relate to any of this? Do you hear this and you go, you know what, this actually really aligns with where I'm coming from? And if not, like I said, reach out because we do have so many different experiences. Go ahead, Ross.
Yeah, these are just, an example of a plethora of different, everybody's got a different story that comes into the program. And if you saw the group of students that are on campus for their second residency right now, again, it's diverse, it's rich, and it's not what you would see at pretty much any other university for an undergraduate business program. Again, I told you about the age range, the background, the educational experience that people have. It's diverse, it's deep, it's wide, empowering, and giving as being part of a cohort of people who come together because they're interested in moving from wherever they are to something else, but they bring in a very different background than what you would see in a typical BCom or BBA year 3 or 4, which would be 21 with summer work experience at best. This is not that type of program. So if you realize you don't fit into the traditional undergraduate business.
And Ross and I did a really fun interview series. So I'm going to pop a link in the chat. And this was just showcasing 3 of our alum that had some really cool background and motivations for going into the program. And it kind of discusses in each of the interviews what they're up to now. So I popped a link in the chat. Definitely recommend checking those out.
And then I see there's a question around, examples of people who have completed the program and have kind of pursued that traditional entrepreneurial journey in terms of a startup venture creation. One of the interviews is with somebody who came in with a business and then took their business to the next level as a result of their time in the program. There's another example of somebody who is in the military and how they've been leveraging their BCom experience for benefit in that kind of a work environment. In addition to the series that Mara just mentioned, the current webinar that's on the homepage also includes an interview with a recent grad as well. So lots of different pathways in and lots of different pathways through and out of the program as well. But yes, we do have lots of examples of people who have pursued that traditional entrepreneurial journey either before, during, or upon program completion. And probably best to connect with me separately, and I'm happy to kind of share some of those personalized stories or maybe even connect you with some of those folks.
Great, thank you, Ross. So I wanted to mention as well, in addition to our standard and flexible admission, we also have some admission conditions. So you may be required to complete one or both of the following courses. So either financial accounting fundamentals, which is a 4-week online course, and or academic writing and critical thinking, which is an 8-week online course. So if taking either of these as a condition of your admission, please select an offering that ends at least 5 weeks prior to the program start date. So mentioning this now while you're looking to apply.
And I put the asterisk there just because sometimes somebody said, well, it's like 4 weeks out or something like that. We can probably make some things work, but reach out to admission and say, here's the situation I'm finding myself in. What are my options here?
Absolutely. And as we've mentioned before, like everybody here is first name first. Like we want to get to know you and we're here to support your individual needs as well. So absolutely connect, have that conversation with us. So in addition, language requirements. So English is the primary language of instruction at Royal Roads University. So if your primary language isn't English, you must meet our English language requirement through one of three ways. So either submission of an official English language proficiency score, graduation from a college or university at which English is the primary language of instruction, and completion of a pathway program through the Global Learning and Language Center at Royal Roads. And Tracy, if you don't mind popping a link in the chat to the language requirements, we have a whole kind of web page dedicated to helping you determine what you need to do for this. And exciting, the key date. So the next intake is starting August 22nd, 2022. So this summer. The application deadline is near the end of May, so May 22nd. So it's coming up soon. You don't have to wait for the application deadline though. If you're wanting to apply, you can start now and submit your application now. And we look at applications as they come in. So we don't wait until the deadline to have a look. And the on-campus residency for this intake is September 17th to 24th. So this fall.
So what I highlight that because August 22nd is when I'm expected to come to campus. And so as I laid out earlier, the first few weeks are online. And then in this case, you'll be coming to campus on for September the 17th through 24th. So starting online at the end of August and then coming to campus on the middle and later part of September.
And it's beautiful here on campus that time of year, like fall on campus. We have gorgeous gardens and just hiking trails around campus. So it's a great time to be here. It's still quite mild. So hope to see a lot of you on campus in the fall. So how to apply? It's really easy. You want to go onto our website, start up an online application, and it costs about $128 and some change to apply to the program. In addition to starting your application, you do need to submit some supporting documents. So we outline this on the website. So my recommendation, I recently applied for a program in the fall, and I literally went to the website and went through the supporting documents and just checked them off. So I highly recommend following the website and using it as like a checklist. So you do need to submit official transcripts in a sealed envelope directly from the institution if you have post-secondary experience. And we're also accepting that by email, like directly from the institution to us. In addition to that, we ask that you submit a personal statement or a statement of intent. So this is your why. And this was actually my favorite part of the application because it really helped me realize my motivation for doing a program, the why. So what we want you to really dive into it, and Ross had mentioned earlier, like we want you to talk about what has influenced your decision to apply to Royal Roads University in the BCom program.
And I'll just say, just to reiterate that piece, kind of that motivation. For me, it's got to be more personally, but I also have seen hundreds of students, and I knowing that if it's simply degree and you're kind of agnostic as to what the degree is and this whole entrepreneurial management piece, I would say check in with yourself about that. I think it's really important to realize this is not simply about business creation, the program. It is a pathway for some students, but for others, it's the entrepreneurial or entrepreneurship pathway about figuring out how to do things differently inside of organizations. If either one of those paths interest you, and that's part of the motivating force to choose this program, that should be part of your statement of why.
Thank you. Yeah, wonderful. So it really is. When you start writing it, you'll realize it's actually a really enjoyable part of the application. So in addition, 2 letters of reference as well. And I recommend doing your personal statement first, and then you can share it with the people that you asked to do your 2 letters of reference. So either you'll have academic, ideally 1 academic and 1 work reference, and then they can see your motivation, your why, and they can kind of understand why you're applying and write to that a little bit in their reference letter. In addition, we also ask for a detailed resume. So this is beyond what you'd be writing to apply for, say, a work position. We really want to know in detail information about all your previous education, your previous work experience. We want to know about any memberships or affiliations that you're a part of or connected with. We want to know a lot about you. So we've actually outlined what we want to hear from you in your detailed resume on the website too. So you can kind of follow that as a checklist as well.
Yeah, if you're at one page, you need to kind of take a pause and say, I think there's a little bit more about myself that I could be sharing.
Thank you. Yes. And we understand that education is an investment, a worthy investment, but it is an investment. So we do have financial aid available. I highly recommend reaching out to our financial aid and awards specialists. They have a wonderful website too, where you can really explore the different options that are available, and you can even set up an appointment to talk about your unique needs. So they can talk about loans, awards, scholarships, and other funding that's available. So absolutely, while you're applying, start looking into financial aid now. And we also offer application support. So I totally understand that this is a lot of different information and there's a lot of different decisions around kind of, are you the right fit? Is the program the right fit for you? So if you have any questions about that, don't hesitate to reach out. Our enrollment team can walk through program details, application process, admission requirements, and anything like that with you. And here is the contact information. If you're within Canada and a Canadian, you can reach out to enrollment advisors, learn.more@royalroads.ca, or if you're coming from abroad and an international student, you can reach out to learn.more.international@royalroads.ca. So I have a quick poll here. I want to know, there's a few people in the room that I want to know if we answered everything you were hoping to find out about from today's session. So,
I know there's one outstanding question which I was going to respond to. So I know there's at least one question I need to respond to.
So I'm going to launch a quick poll. I'd love for everybody to look at their screen. So the question I'm asking is, did we cover everything you were hoping to learn from today's session? The options are yes and no.
And if no, I want to know, what is that outstanding question? And can we address it either here or through a side conversation?
Exactly. Well, it looks like we answered most of what people were hoping to cover. So thank you for completing the poll. And yeah, if there's any questions, please.
Yeah, there was a question about this program vis-a-vis some other options that are available. So if you're thinking about Babson, very different market, very different type of program. So it's on campus 4 years, significant costs associated with it. Great program, one of the top schools in the world for what it offers. What we offer is something different. So if you're interested in learning and working at the same time, keeping your costs more manageable, not only in terms of the tuition, but the ability to generate income while you're studying, to do it in 2 years rather than 4 or longer. I know somebody who's at Babson right now, I know somebody whose son is at it. Again, a different demographic, a little bit younger, unless you're doing one of their graduate programs. But again, top school, with lots of great resources and great connections and networking opportunities. And if you want to live and work and explore entrepreneurship, especially in the US context, and that's a great option. It is an elite school. It's one of the top schools in the world, and it's a very different program with a different student profile than what we have. And I'm happy to talk to you more about that program or other options in addition to the RIU BCom, depending on what your interests are. I have a pretty good sense of the marketplace, both domestically and internationally, and happy to explore that with you.
We have another question that came in. There used to be a 1-year option. Is that still available?
That's right. So we've retired the 1-year accelerated BCom completion program. So the last, that completed in 2020, was our 2019-2020 intake was the last we did. And that's driven because we actually created a new on-campus undergraduate program. So we had our BCom side by side, and we've actually collapsed both of those pre-existing programs into a new BBA, Bachelor's of Business Administration in Innovation and Sustainability, that offers a 16-month accelerated degree completion option for on-campus. It's a completely different design. It took elements of the pre-existing BCom and the pre-existing BBA and brought it into a whole new framework where you are engaged in team-based, project-based learning for the 16 months that you're on campus. So if you're looking for kind of a different educational experience, you want to study on campus full time, then that's something definitely to look at it. The BCom is focused on working adults, and that program is designed for full-time on-campus learners. Hopefully that helps answer the.
Awesome.
Yeah, and Kaizen, I'll just say that edX, they have an edX professional certificate that's really quite intriguing online, but their equivalent of, say, their BCom or BA in business and entrepreneurship is an on-campus program, 4 years, about $250,000 in tuition. Yeah, I would call it like a near Ivy as a school. Yeah. And if you have that pathways available to you, I'd say seriously consider it, because it'll be a very rich experience. But again, it's a different market. Yeah. Anybody else have questions they would like answered, curiosities about the BCom program or life at Railroads?
And I wanted to extend it, like we have a small group today, so if you want, like you can always raise your hand using the raise hand function, and I can give you permission to unmute if you wanted to verbally ask a question, because I know sometimes it's nice to ask it that way too, so that's an option. Something that I was hoping you could dive a bit more into, Ross, is the cohort experience. So I know the cohort is so connected, and it's just like part of a network that these people have for the rest of their life. Can you talk more about what that's like?
Yeah, so again, what another design consideration that most programs at Railroad share is this idea that you come together as a learning community. Typical cohort size is, say, 25. Again, much smaller than the typical class size that you would see at other universities, either online or on-campus programs. And the folks that you start together are pretty much the folks that you will take the rest of the program with. I mean, sometimes life circumstances cause people to have to take a time out and they end up joining a different cohort or vice versa. But most of the people that you start the program with, those are the people that you'll be journeying through the 2 years with, and you'll complete the program with. And so what that is a great opportunity is to be developing really rich relationships that if you were just a bunch of random folks taking random sets of courses at random sets of time in the pursuit of a degree, you might occasionally run into each other in another course, but this is designed specifically to support the development of an intentional learning community of a formalized team, and you are on 4 different teams throughout the life of the program, because some courses have formalized teamwork in them, and then you'll be doing that. We're the only university in the country that has a team coach. So we have a dedicated team coach that works with each cohort of BCom learners to support their collaborative skill development of working well with others. So I would say that the cohort model is one of the key enablers for people to successfully complete the period, and often to stay on track in the pursuit of completion on the program. And often the relationships that are forged, especially during residency, and we haven't had the campus residency over the last couple of years, and we just had our first one just a couple of weeks ago. But even the online community building that we had done during COVID was a difference maker for many learners. Again, it's that support, that peer community that you cultivate by spending a couple of years together is very rich and often serves you through the rest of your life. I mean, that's one of the benefits of coming back to school, especially business school, is the kind of networks that you build that can pay dividends, not only in terms of just friendships, but also business relationships and career relationships that can be cultivated from that. So often when the cohort that people start with, they want to stay with, and they're very reluctant to switch out of, even in the face of some, challenging life circumstances. So there's something very meaningful that happens when folks spend time together in the context of the program. And again, that's not common in a lot of other programs.
It really is a unique program here at Railroads. So I wanted to ask you, Ross, as we kind of come to the end of today's session, is there any final words or words of advice that you'd like to share with the people in the room today?
Yeah, I think for me, it comes back to what's your level of intrigue about this program? So you're here, what drew you here? Maybe somebody said, hey, you should check this out. Where are you in your work life? Where are you in your kind of educational journey? What's drawing you back to considering undertaking studies at this point? And what is it that I've shared with you, or somebody else has shared with you, or have you read about the program that is resonating with you? And sit with that and reflect on how that could be a motivating force for you, and be thinking really purposefully about how you can leverage the learning, because it's not simply about the acquisition of the credential. Yes, okay, that matters, that might open up some doors, but as I tell students, if you leave the program thinking and behaving and being the same way as you started, you're probably not going to get a lot of different results. So what is it that you're hoping to change up in your circumstance? What is it that you are hoping to, as I said, become, be, accomplish, achieve in the world of work, that you think that studying and learning about and developing the capacity and capability to be thinking and behaving more entrepreneurially, again, not just about venture creation and being self-employed, that might be the thing for you, but it doesn't have to be about for you. I'd be thinking about how that connects to you, because to me, that could be a critical difference maker. Because if you end up studying something you're not that particularly interested in, but you like the delivery model or something else about it, I'm not sure that's going to see you through some of the challenging times that you'll undoubtedly encounter as you navigate studies while living and working. I've done lots of my higher education while working, and I think it's about the degree that you can connect that which you're learning about and developing capabilities in, and how you connect that to what's important to you, is the difference maker. And then alongside that, your peer community and the relationships that you're developing there. So I'm always happy to chat with prospects. So you can reach out to Tracy, and she can refer you to me, or she popped my contact details in the chat box. So feel free to contact me about the program. Want to hear more about alumni stories or current student perspectives, or just have some other areas of interest that you'd like to explore, happy to do that, because my interest is seeing every learner succeed based on their definition of success, and what obviously we have to ensure in terms of learning outcomes that are accomplished. And so that fit is really important.
Thank you so much, Ross. And thank you to Tracy and to Nancy for supporting this webinar behind the scenes. And thank you to everyone who is either listening to this recording at a later time or here today present in the room asking your questions. It's wonderful to have you. And if there's anything you need at all, please don't hesitate to connect with us. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.